Okay, I figured out how to start recording it.
So it's recording.
This is day 2. It's different than what y'all have seen before. So this entire chapter, except for today, is review. We're doing Pythagorean theorem next time. Today we are doing this. This is very new, but it's pretty much just following these 2 formulas. And so first we'll show you how we get the formulas, like what the heck is this, what's going on. It's called geometric mean. This first part, these first 3 questions, it kind of shows where these formulas come from. So we're not going to spend a ton of time on them, but I'm just going to show you what's happening and what's going on. It gives you, I didn't want you to have to write down this super long definition, so I just gave it to you. But pretty much, you've got this right here, and this is what we're trying to create down here. So it wants the geometric mean of 2 numbers, and you put the numbers in for A and B, and then the x's stay. All right, so you're creating a proportion, your A and B, so like 4 and 4 would be your A and B, and that is what you are, making. And when you solve for x, that's the geometric mean of the 2 numbers. All right. And really, ultimately, what this does is helps you find parts of triangles, parts of the side of the triangle, or that altitude of the triangle with those formulas where you wouldn't be able to find them before. Is what you're trying to do here. So, we're going to cross multiply. You remember that, hopefully. A little butterfly thing going on here. We got x squared equals 24. What's happening? That's right. There we go. Thanks. I was wondering why I looked out and everyone was like super smiley. Oh, I did it for the next one, I guess. Yeah, so it's 4 and 4 are the 2 numbers. Thanks. And then you just take the square root of both sides. That's all that is happening. Right here, you cross multiply, take the square root of both sides. And then you have to... Good gosh, I'm still doing the next one. I need to not record this. We need to start over. It's going to be terrible for everyone who has to watch this.
Terrible for everyone.
Terrible for y'all. Terrible for everyone involved. Yeah, you're right.
You can just try again.
Alright, so 16, so you can get plus or minus. You're right. I'll probably need to try again next class. Plus or minus 4. Yay! And that's what we get. Take square root of both sides. It has to be plus or minus. Right. The homework last time? Well, yeah, because I do it for you. And now we get to do this one, which I obviously really wanted to do last time. We cross multiply. X squared equals 24. And we are not getting decimals in this entire unit ever. We are simplifying radicals. I know, you're so excited. So we took those numbers, the perfect squares, the largest one that goes into 24 is just 4, which is nice. So 4 and 6, and it becomes 2 root 6. Yay. Okay, go ahead and do number 3. See what you get. Oh yeah, we don't want to do that. So we're good. Alright. So pause the video right now and figure out what number 3 is.
It's still professional.
No, I know it's recording. That's good. I'm telling them to pause. Okay, hopefully paused it and you restarted it. There's the answer. It's 4 root 15. Hopefully you got that. If you didn't, correct it. So, you almost got it. That's good.
Let's just hope any of us are not.
Hopefully we're never absent. Yeah, it's true. Alright, here's the deal. Now, we are really never going to write one of those ratios. Well, we are, but for the most part, we're not going to write those ratios. This just shows us where these formulas are coming from. Now, we are finding the geometric mean. The leg is like, I guess I should point on here. The leg is like the x's from the problems we just wrote. And then our part, I'm going to say that a lot. I'm going to say the word leg, part, hypotenuse, all that a lot. Oh, okay, yeah. And then what happens is when you cross multiply, you get this. So you cross multiply, you get the leg squared equals the part times the hypotenuse, and then we will love these equations. These will be our best friends. And yeah, so this is like our little cheat sheet over here. These are what all these words mean. So the altitude is this right here. That's a leg. That's a leg. These two things are parts. All right. And then yeah, the whole thing is the hypotenuse. All right. Let's look at number 4 and actually explain what's going on, because a lot of you are probably like, what the heck is happening? A proportion can be written to find the value of x, blah, blah, blah. We want to find the value of x. If we look back, what is the value of x? And we look on here, what is this thing called? Altitude, yeah. So it is the altitude. So we want to use this formula right here. And it says what proportion. I'm not going to waste the time on the proportion. So we're just going to go ahead and go to the equation. What equation can be written to find the value of x? It's our altitude squared. So our altitude is x squared. Equals part times the part. So if we look on our little cheat sheet, the parts are these two right here. So we have to find those numbers here. So x squared equals 2 times 9. And then you take the square root of both sides. So x equals the square root of 18. But we're not done because we can simplify that. All right, so when we simplify it, 9 and 2 goes into that, and it becomes 3 root 2. All right. And then, so you just have a formula, you plug the numbers into the formula, you solve. It's pretty simple once you figure out these formulas and you get used to them. For number 7, how do you find the value of c? Don't overthink it, guys. You said it. What'd you say? I thought you, oh, did you yawn? Oh, I thought you said add. Add. Oh, good. All right. So you just add. That's what you do. You add 8 and 15. Don't make it harder than it is. You have to add them together to get the entire hypotenuse. So you want the value of c, the whole thing, add 8 and 15. An equation that can be written to find the value of y. Alrighty, we need to find the value of y. What the heck is y? If we look up here on this, which one of these 4 words is it?
It's a leg.
It's a leg. It's a leg, yeah. So we need to use the equation that says the word leg. Doesn't that make sense? Okay. Yes. Yeah, pretty much. So sometimes, and we'll get into it, sometimes it'll ask for a part, but it'll give you the other things that you need to plug in to solve. But for right now, yeah, it's either going to be a leg or altitude. That's how you pick your equation, and you plug in the numbers. That's all it is. So we've got our leg. So if we look back up here, we've got the leg squared. So y squared is the part times the whole. Now this is what throws people off. And I want us to change this right here, and I want us to write this word right here. Closest on top of the word part. The closest part times the whole thing. All right, the closest part. So you've got 2 parts here. One of them is 8 and one of them is 15. We got to figure out which one is the closest to y. Yeah, it's 15. Just don't forget that or you get it wrong. Because if you put 8, then you're finding this side over here. Because 8 is closest to this leg. So we've got 15, and then we have to figure out what the whole thing is. Well, the whole thing is c, and we already figured out how to find c. You just add 8 and 15. Yeah, 23. So you kind of end up with a little bit of a big number. 15 times 23. 12,000? Is that what you said? Yeah. It's 345. But we want to go ahead and solve. To solve, you have to square root. Yeah, you're right. Square root. And you know what? I couldn't find a way to simplify this. Either that or I just didn't on my notes. I don't think there was a number that went into it. Yeah, I don't think any of them go into it. So we're just going to leave it. We're going to go to the next page. Alright, this next page is, it's the last, this is the only page we're doing. These 5 examples and then that's it. But they're not super short, so yeah. For number 10, we want to find all 3 things. You can pick any one to solve for first. You can pick the leg, you can pick the altitude, or you can pick the other leg. You have everything you need to solve for it. I'm going to just start with the altitude first. So hopefully we remember these. So I'm going to write these down. Altitude. Oh, that's too, oh crap. Altitude. That's not how, oh, that's ugly. It's altitude. Altitude squared equals closest part. Mother of pearl, it doesn't. It's the wrong one. Just the part. Just the part times the part. Yeah. Altitude squared equals part times part. It's on the other page. If I wrote it down wrong, sorry. So, altitude, I don't know what I'm saying. The altitude is x. So we need to square the altitude and then multiply it by, or set it equal to the 2 parts multiplied together. And we end up getting 35 for x squared. Take the square root of both sides. And can you simplify that down any further? Do any of those numbers go into 35?
Yeah.
None of them do. Yeah, none of them do. So that's as far as you can simplify it. So our x is just going to be square root of 35. And we move on. Alright, for our, we'll go ahead and do y. Y is going to be the leg squared. Now is the closest part. There we go. Times the hypotenuse. So the whole side. You can either write the word whole or you can write the word hypotenuse. I like hypotenuse better because we're used to hearing that word. Okay, so we've got y squared equals, and you want the closest part, so it's 5 or 7 closer. It's 5. Yeah, 5 is closer. And then the whole thing is 12. So you're not squaring anything on the right-hand side. It's only this left-hand side of the equation. So y squared equals 60. This one you can simplify. So don't forget to simplify it when you can. We square root both sides. 4 and 15 are the 2 numbers that go into it. I'll just go ahead and give that to you for time's sake. To root 15. And that is what y is. And then we want to solve for z. Z is the other leg, so make sure you're not using the altitude formula for it. Z is the other leg. So I will put z squared, because that is what we want to find. And when I write my z's, I'm going to do that, because it kind of looks like my 2's. So z squared equals, notice the difference that we have going on here. For z, you use 7. For y, you use 5. Just make sure you understand that you're using that closest part, the one that actually touches the side. Okay, so z squared equals 84. And that one actually, that one simplifies too, I think. Does 21 go into it 4 times? Oh my gosh, it does. So z equals 2 root 21. Because the 4 simplifies to a 2, you got 2 root 21. Alright, number 11. We put this one in here on purpose because it looks ugly, but it's actually nicer than the one before. So I'll let y'all get that all written down. And then we'll move on to 11. Y'all get that? If you didn't, you just missed Z. Alright, we're moving on. Alright. For this one, we need to solve for x first. Because if you notice what we've got going on, if we try to solve for z, x is going to be in the equation. If we try to solve for y, x is going to be in the equation. We don't want that. The only one we can solve for is x first because we've got number, and x. So this is a little different. This is what I was talking about earlier as far as we are not solving for the altitude, we're solving for a part. So our altitude, we're still using that equation. Altitude squared equals part times part. I'm going to write it in and then write the parts under it. So the altitude is the square root of 6 squared. And then our two parts, one of them is 3, one of them is x. So those are our two parts. Part, altitude. Yeah, you're just following an equation. This is not hard. And then you square the square root of 6. Remember, all that does is cancel out, so it works out very well for us. We get rid of that square root, which is lovely. And then 6 equals 3x. X equals 2. Now we have this number. It's wonderful. Now we can solve for y and z now that we have x. So x is 2. When I solve for y, I'm actually going to move up here so we're closer. Y is a leg, y squared. And then we want to take the closest part. 3 is closer. And then here's what those are. I see this all the time. A lot of people put y squared equals 3 times 2. That is wrong. You've got to do the entire hypotenuse. So make sure you put the entire hypotenuse. That's the biggest mistake I see on these. Yeah, you just take the square root of both sides. You can't simplify 15 down anymore. So you're done. So y squared is 15. Okay, no. Yes. And then y is square root of 15. And then z, and then I'll give you all a chance to do one by yourself. Yay, how fun. Alright, z is going to be the closest, which is 2 times 5, and that's z squared, sorry. And I remembered I'm putting that on there, so it actually looks like a z. I know. Nope, not squared. We don't want that. We want this. Alright. I wasn't trying to. It's still going. This is happening. Oh yeah, I was just gonna do that for y'all. But number 12, you are doing it by yourself. Alright, so if you will pause it, if you will pause this video and then do number 12 by yourself and then check it. Okay, that's the answers for number 12.